There's a few of you who have written some unbelievable things. I'm trying to think of someone who they could sign who'd replace Sancho. Nobody. Hi guys, and welcome back to another week of TFW, the footballing show that puts your opinions first. And this week, we've had the return of the Bundesliga, and so many of you have had a lot to say about it. I've got my trusty laptop, so let's get straight into it. There's a few of you who have written some unbelievable things about the Bundesliga returning, so I wanted to do some sort of myth busting where what you're actually saying may not make that much sense. First off, Nike Jr., for example, has said the empty stadiums in Germany where football resumes shows how important the 12th man, the fans in the stadium, are. Not really. I mean, it didn't make that much of a difference to Dortmund. They still went ahead and smashed Schalke 4-0. They would have done that with or without fans. Bayern restarted with a normal Bayern victory, 2-0. There was nothing that Union Berlin were going to do about that. Gladbach had a good victory. Yeah, I'm not sure they were that important over the weekend. Everything kind of went to plan. If it was like really bizarre and teams were struggling without the impetus from their fans and yeah, there was like a massive shock, then yeah, I would completely agree with you, but no. Mutinda Mumo as well said empty arena matches are favouring the away sides more than the home sides. During the weekend, only one home team won, which was Dortmund. The other home sides had poor showings. I mean, yeah, you could say that on the face of the stats, but then again, you could also say that's because the stronger team were the away team. Bayern Munich were away from home and Gladbach were away from home. Those are two sides who you'd expect to win. Doesn't matter where Bayern are playing Union, you'd expect them to win. The same thing goes for Gladbach with Frankfurt, especially after Frankfurt's poor season. So that may not necessarily be true, it's just because the away team was better. I mean, Hoffenheim losing at home to Hertha Berlin, yes, definitely not a great result for them. But there's no way you could link it to it favouring the away sides. It's the same pitch for both, same ref, same stadium, same grass. Hudai Venkatnarayan, I think I got that right. The players in the Bundesliga are very rusty. What will it take for the players to get their skills back? What do you mean rusty? Dortmund were unbelievable. There was nothing rusty about them at all. Haaland back at it. As I said before, yeah, I'm probably mentioning the biggest ones, but Lewandowski back at it. Leipzig weren't very good. I get that. A bit of a shock at home to Freiburg, dropping points. The Hertha are on fire. If anything, they got better over the break, and that's because they didn't play any football. Again, rusty. Maybe you're looking at the poor players, the guys who weren't very good, but yeah, in terms of how would you have planned this weekend to go? What you would have predicted if the season was continuing as normal, it pretty much went to form. Patch the Great, yet again, Alphonso Davies put in a great performance, is showing he could be a world-class left-back or left wing in his opinion. Yes, this I agree with. This went to form. Alphonso Davies was great before, he's great after. The footballing is continuing as always. I don't want to like throw shade on all of these comments, but to react so quickly, personally, it's a game of football. It's a game of football. Rishab Chopra said, hey Matt, don't you think spitting should be banned? I saw some players spitting on the ground during Bundesliga games. It might spread the disease. Yes, it might spread the disease, but if you're worried about the spitting, there's bigger issues at hand. Like all the hugging and all the fighting for the ball and the handshaking. And if spitting was such a big issue, they shouldn't be playing football. But it's obviously not. Spitting on the ground, technically, what are the chances of someone falling onto that spit? Or even that spit going into someone else's body. Pretty gross topic, but yeah, I'm not so sure that's the biggest issue. Denat Shaholia said, do you think Chelsea could become title contenders again in a few years? Well, Denat, not Mason Mount, obviously not Mason Mount's YouTube account, has an answer. So not Mason Mount has said Chelsea only need 3 or 4 or less signings to start challenging for the title next season. Players Chelsea have been linked with that will help them challenge are... Let's go through these and see whether or not this will happen. Timo Werner, think he's going to go to Liverpool or stay at Leipzig. By the way, all these players, yes, would help Chelsea. Alex Sandro, looks like a possibility. Ziyech, who they've already signed. Yep, definitely a quality player. Moussa Dembele, I'm not so sure they'll bring him in. And I think he's probably one of the ones who maybe wouldn't play as big a role because Tammy Abraham is the guy at Chelsea, the forward. Alex Telles, again, linked with Chelsea, could see it happening. They won't be signing Sancho and Telles. Seems a bit unnecessary to sign 2 fullbacks and both promising game time where obviously only one of them's going to play. Sancho, not going to be moving to Chelsea. Osimhen, potentially, but again, they're not going to disrupt Abraham's time in the first team. Onana, can definitely see that happening. Chilwell, again, can see it happening. They're not going to sign Sandro Tellers and Chilwell for the left-back spot. That'd be pretty nuts. And Romagnoli, who I'm not so sure will be joining the club either. Next up, Fran Nerona. Actually, yes, but back to that, yes, Chelsea definitely do have a good chance. They make some brilliant signings like Ziyech and a few others. Lampard giving youth a chance. Definitely got a good squad, considering they're in the fight for the Champions League in his first season. Pretty damn good. Haven't even seen the best of Pulisic or Hudson-Odoi yet. So next up, and to Fran Nerona has said, Haaland has the potential to become the best out-and-out striker in the world. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Unpopular opinion, he will win the Ballon d'Or before Mbappe, since he's playing in a more competitive league and he's killing it in the Champions League too. Well, he's not exactly killing it, because wasn't Haaland and Dortmund knocked out by Mbappe and PSG? Yes, is the answer to that. They were knocked out by Mbappe and PSG. He'll win the Ballon d'Or before Mbappe. There seems to be such an obsession with the Ballon d'Or. If he does or he doesn't, who cares? It's not football, it's a team sport. Personally, I think Mbappe will win it before Haaland. He will also win far more than Haaland in his career. He's playing in a more competitive league. Yeah, I tend to agree with that, although having said that, Haaland is playing in one of the better sides. This is the thing. If you were playing for one of the, not worser, but just like one of the sides that was maybe a step down from the top, then you'd probably get a lot more credit, even though you're playing in the same league, which doesn't quite make sense. Anyway, Ihab Amoria said, Rabbi Matondo is the next Jadon Sancho. Absolutely not. Well, you know what? I don't even know that. But no, after I don't know, it's like 20 games in the last season and a half for Schalke, there's no way you could say he's the next Jadon Sancho. I mean, he's like 19 years old. He's only 1 year younger than Sancho, and Sancho's been linked with moves for 150 million to Champions League winners and potential Ballon d'Ors. So at the moment, it is not looking like Matondo is the next Sancho. Who knows? I don't know. Nobody knows. He could turn into be an absolute world beater, but certainly on current viewing, it looks like Schalke have tried to pull a Dortmund by taking a youngster from City, and it hasn't quite worked out. Soccer is the next YouTube account. Said Thiago is the most complete midfielder in the game. He can dribble, pass, tackle, position himself well, read the game, and is a great leader. Ultimately, I don't think any other midfielder in the world has this complete skill package. I'd agree and disagree with this one. Firstly, I agree because Thiago shows it. That is the key. There are other players with his skill package who just do not show it. We always talk about him. Paul Pogba is definitely a massive one who's got all the talent to be an absolute world beater but doesn't show it consistently. I think De Bruyne is as well. Defensively might not be as good as Thiago, but then again, I don't think Thiago's necessarily exceptional defensively. He's good at intercepting and reading the game, but tackling-wise, he's not a defensive midfielder, neither is Kevin De Bruyne. I think De Bruyne is the only one who could probably challenge Thiago for being the most complete central midfielder. There are others in the world as well. But yeah, I'm trying to think of others who would maybe have his skill package from a central midfield position. It'd be difficult. There are players who are better than Thiago and De Bruyne at certain things, but just don't have the whole package. Nino Di Girolamo said, do you think next season if Bayern signs Sane, God, I hate that transfer rumour. Talking about it all the time. Dortmund sell Sancho and Leverkusen sell Havertz, the Bundesliga title race will be over in 2021. That's very, love from Australia, that's very premature, but I kind of agree. If Sancho were to leave, it looks like he'll be leaving the league, which is severely hampering Dortmund. Don't get me wrong, Dortmund have got brilliant players elsewhere. Fantastic players, but they're losing one of their best players and their most consistent player as well when it comes to goals and assists. So yes, Dortmund will be worse off. I'm trying to think of someone who they could sign who'd replace Sancho. Nobody. Certainly not straight away. And if Leverkusen sold Havertz, same thing. Havertz is a massive part of the Leverkusen side. But God, if they sold him to Bayern, it'd be even worse for them. But yeah, if the two best players from two massive rivals leave, for me, that would leave Dortmund in a worse position. Not to say they couldn't challenge. Same thing with Leipzig. They'd be in a good position. Not to say they couldn't challenge. If Werner left, they may be in a worse position. But yeah, my God, if Sane joins and maybe if Havertz would go to Bayern, and Bayern would be a serious threat. They'd be even better than they already are, and I think they'd be clearing away favourites for the 2021 title. And lastly but not least, Anthony Emmanuel said, who should Newcastle United get as their manager? Poch, Benitez, Allegri, or should they stick with Steve Bruce? The fact that Steve Bruce is in the same sentence as those other three is a bit of a shambles. If they're going to bring in big names, they're going to need a big coach to go with it. There's no offence to Steve Bruce, what he's done in English football, I mean, his footballing career was far better than his managerial career. If you're bringing in, I mean, obviously Gareth Bale knows who Steve Bruce is. I don't know, Edison Cavani, James Rodriguez. If you're bringing in these big foreign players and going to say, by the way, you're going to go to Newcastle, here's the money, here's the contract, here's St James's Park, and here's the manager, Steve Bruce, they're going to be like, who? Who's he? I mean, they may have heard of him, but, you know, his reputation definitely does not precede him, like it would with Benitez, right? An unbelievable manager, wherever he's been. Allegri, the guy's got the trophy and the medals to back it up. Again, another unbelievable manager in the Champions League. And Mauricio Pochettino doesn't have the trophies or medals to back it up, but certainly what he's done with Spurs and the way Spurs made it to the Champions League final, the new stadium, some of the players in their squad definitely hasn't got unnoticed. There's no way that a player wouldn't know who any of those three are. Sorry for Steve Bruce. Anyway, that is all from this week's TFW. Thanks so much for watching and leaving your comments in the YouTube community tab on a Sunday night. Let me know your thoughts though in the comment section down below about everything we discussed. Check out the rest of the stuff we've got going on Onefootball here and here. And yeah, until next time, enjoy the return of the football and I'll see you guys later.